Calaroga Shark Media.
From Washington, D.C., where there's a weird man on the roof, this is Ballot.
Hopefully the weird man will release the Epstein files. Let's hit this. I'm Patrick Gutfield, and this first story sounds like a bit, but frankly, my AI writers aren't this clever. Donald Trump decided to take a casual stroll on the White House roof because apparently being president wasn't enough. Now he's also the building inspector. Reporters were pushed way down the driveway when suddenly they saw the President of the United States wandering around on top of the West Wing like he's checking for loose shingles. When they shouted up asking what he was doing, Trump's response was peak Trump. Just taking a little walk on the roof of the White House while accompanied by an architect and Secret Service agents. The press naturally wanted to know what he was building up there. Trump's first answer: it goes with the ballroom, which is on the other side. Then he started doing hand gestures to demonstrate whatever architectural vision was happening in his head. Picture the President of the United States playing charades with the White House press corps from a rooftop. When pressed for more details, Trump said he was building something beautiful, which is either the most vague construction plan in history or exactly the kind of answer you'd expect from someone who once put his name in giant gold letters on every building he owned. The best part? Trump kept insisting he's paying for all this himself. Just more ways to spend my money for the country, he said. Anything I do is financed by me. Right. Trump was up there with architect Jim McCreary, who's apparently been commissioned to add a ballroom to the White House. The two of them were having what looked like an intense conversation with lots of animated pointing. You know that conversation every homeowner has with contractors, except this is happening on top of the most famous house in America. At one point, Trump disappeared from view, presumably to check out the South Lawn situation. When he came back, reporters tried again to get specifics about his construction plans. "What are you trying to build?" someone shouted. Trump's response: "Missiles, nuclear missiles," while making rocket launch gestures. Now, he was presumably joking, but this is 2025 and nothing feels impossible anymore. You know they don't want us talking about the Epstein files when they trot this nonsense out. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy just announced that NASA is fast-tracking plans to build a nuclear reactor on the moon. Duffy, who's pulling double duty as interim NASA administrator, laid out the plan during a Department of Transportation press conference. "We're in a race to the moon, in a race with China to the moon," he said. "And to have a base on the moon, we need energy." Now, when most people think about powering a moon base, they probably picture solar panels and maybe some really long extension cords. But NASA is thinking bigger. They want to split atoms on the lunar surface, which sounds like the kind of thing that either makes us a spacefaring civilization or creates the plot for the worst disaster movie ever made. The reactor they're planning will generate 100 kilowatts of power. Duffy helpfully explained that's the same amount of energy a 2,000 square foot home uses every 3.5 days. So we're not talking about powering Las Vegas here, more like keeping the lights on at a really expensive lunar cabin. Duffy emphasized that we're not launching this live, which is reassuring. Nobody wants to find out what happens when you try to transport an active nuclear reactor through space. That's the kind of mission where you really hope NASA double-checked their math and aren't using cardboard and duct tape like those Apollo 13 guys. The timing is interesting, considering NASA just announced that nearly 4,000 of its 18,000 employees would be leaving through resignation programs. The timing is also interesting because people keep asking about the Epstein files. The administration plans to designate a fission surface power program executive, which is definitely going on someone's LinkedIn profile as the coolest job title ever. A memo from Duffy explains that fission surface power is essential and sustainable for future lunar and Mars missions. It also mentions strengthening national security in space, which raises the question, are we planning to defend the moon? From what? Space pirates? If the space pirates can steal and release the Epstein files, I might be on their side.
What if everything you've been taught about happiness is wrong? We chase careers, approval, more stuff, hoping it'll finally make us feel fulfilled, but it never sticks. What if happiness isn't out there, but already inside you, just waiting to be unlocked? Discover the book, The Happiness Experiment. Every person has a unique happiness type, and when you understand yours, everything shifts. You'll stop chasing and start creating joy on your own terms. Discover your happiness type with a free happiness type assessment. Go to myhappinnesstype.com. That's myhappiness.com. It takes just a minute and it might change your life. Then grab your copy of The Happiness Experiment at Books A Million. This isn't just a book, it's a practical framework, a journey inward. It's a tool to help you reconnect with the happiness that's been waiting inside you all along. Pick up The Happiness Experiment and start your happiness experiment today.
Donald Trump said Tuesday he would probably not run for a third term, which is the kind of answer that makes constitutional scholars reach for their blood pressure medication. When asked about 2028 on CNBC's Squawk Box, Trump said, "I'd like to run. I have the best poll numbers I've ever had." So his reasoning for not running a third time isn't the 22nd Amendment that explicitly prohibits it. It's just that he's probably not feeling it right now. Now, most people would answer this question with no, because it's unconstitutional and impossible. But Trump went with probably not, which is like saying you probably won't rob a bank. The word probably is doing a lot of heavy lifting here. The 22nd Amendment is pretty clear. Nobody gets elected president more than twice, period. It doesn't matter that Trump's terms weren't consecutive. It doesn't matter if he has great poll numbers. The Constitution isn't a multiple choice test where you get to pick your favorite answer. But Trump and his allies have been floating ways around this little constitutional speed bump. They've suggested repealing the amendment or having Trump run for vice president and then somehow ascend to the presidency, which is like planning to become a professional athlete by changing all the rules of sports. Trump previously told NBC there are methods to assume office again if he wanted to. That's the kind of statement that makes civics teachers weep. There are no methods, Donald. That's what constitutional amendment means. White House Communications Director Stephen Ching tried to clean this up by saying it's far too early to think about it, and Trump is focused on his current term. But here's the thing. If it's constitutionally impossible, it's never too early to rule it out completely. The best part? Trump's official merchandise store is already selling Trump 2028 gear. One product description reads, "The future looks bright. Rewrite the rules with the Trump 2028 high crown hat." Rewrite the rules. They're not even being subtle about it anymore. They're literally selling merchandise about ignoring the Constitution. That hat should come with a free pocket Constitution so people can read what they're planning to rewrite. This is like selling tickets to a concert that's scheduled for a venue that doesn't exist. Sure, you can print the tickets, but the fundamental problem remains. The thing you're selling isn't actually possible. But in 2025 America, we're having serious conversations about whether probably not constitutes a definitive answer about following the Constitution. And somewhere, the founding fathers are spinning in their graves fast enough to power a small city, or at least a moon base. Portions of today's show were made with the help of AI. Release the Epstein files, you coward.
From the creators of Palace Intrigue, a new chapter in royal history begins. William and Kate's wedding captures the world's attention, but royal life isn't as perfect as it seems. Tensions rise as Harry meets Meghan, sparking a divide that will shake the monarchy to its core. From explosive interviews to family scandals, the royal family faces its most public challenges ever. As King Charles takes the throne, the future of the monarchy hangs in the balance. Family secrets, royal rifts, and the future of the crown. Crown and Controversy, wherever you get your podcasts.
What if the biggest threat to the royal family is the royal family? I'm Mark Francis, host of Palace Intrigue, the daily podcast that goes behind the palace gates and straight into the headlines. Right now, we're digging into Entitled, the bombshell new book that claims Prince Andrew's ties to Jeffrey Epstein run deeper than ever imagined, with espionage, secret deals, and even possibly a Trump massage list. New episodes every day. Follow Palace Intrigue wherever you get your podcasts.
You can call me James. I spent 23 years designing aircraft that officially don't exist for agencies you think TV made up. Until I started asking the wrong questions. Navy ships are recording objects moving at impossible speeds. Infrastructure is failing in coordinated patterns. The moon looks smaller than it did 10 years ago. None of this is a coincidence. The official explanations don't add up. This is Paranormal Aliens, where we connect the dots they don't want connected. If you're hearing this, you know where to get podcasts. Follow Paranormal Aliens. New episodes weekly until they shut me down.